Welcome student. In third session from your textbook chapter number 14 natural resources. Today we will continue this chapter. In last session we studied about the ozone layer and its depletion, about the water resources, water natural resources, their conservation, management, and about the soil resources. Today we are going to discuss biogeochemical cycle. Okay, biogeochemical cycle, the term indicate that chemicals circulate through life and through earth again and again. That is called the biogeochemical cycles. Clear? So, a constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic component of the biosphere makes it a dynamic, okay, but stable system. So these interaction consist of a transfer of matter and energy between the different component of the biosphere. Clear? So this involves some processes. Okay, so the nutrients element derived from the earth by the living organism for their growth and metabolism are called the biogeochemical cycles. Okay, so the nutrients element, okay, derived from the earth by the living organism for their growth and metabolism are called the biogeochemicals. So these biogeochemicals are continuously recycled. The movement of nutrients element through the living and non-living component of biosphere is called the biogeochemical cycle of matter. So now the biogeochemical cycle are also known as nutrient cycle also. Okay, so first we study that water cycle. Okay, Earth differ from other planets in this solar system as it has large amount of water, mostly in liquid form, which support all life on Earth. So there is constant exchange of water between the air, land and sea and between the living organism and their environments. Okay. So there are means that cycles, a water cycle in nature. So the larger global water cycle is there. Okay, so simply we have description now. So look at, this is the water bodies are there. Water get heated by the hot rays of the sun and water get converted into water vapor. Okay, and that process is called evaporation. So water vapor that goes up and condense, cool down and form the clouds and again cool down, and by that precipitation and that, so that come back on the earth in the form of raindrop, okay, snowfall, like that. So that is what simply water cycle is there. Okay, that water again come back on the earth in the form of raindrop. So this cycle is completed, means that water get heated by the hot rays of the sun, goes up, form the cloud and again cool down. Okay, that condensation process is there. So again cool down and come back on the earth in the form of rain. So this complete the water. That water evaporate from the hydrosphere. Okay, and that under the sun heat and forms a cloud. Okay, the wind blow and cloud over to the land, where after getting cooled enough the water it in form, the water in clouds falls on the earth as rain, hail, okay, sleet, called that precipitation. So rain may fall directly into the ocean also. Okay, some water from the rain rain and melting snow soak into the ground, but most of the flow in it river and return directly to the seas. So the groundwater comes to the surface again to help of that with the help of the springs and pumps. It is used in agriculture, industries and homes. So this water finally evaporate in the atmosphere. So water also evaporate from the snow reservoir and groundwater vapor aided by evaporation to the atmosphere again form the cloud. So these complete the global water cycle, and this and the energy to run this cycle comes from the sunlight. Clear? So three processes involving in that water cycle. And other than biological water cycle is that, so in that plants, okay, plants absorb water from the soil or water reservoir and aid it to the air in vapor formed by a process of called that transpiration. Okay, so that plants absorb water from the soil or water reservoir and add it to the air in vapor form by a process of that transpiration. Okay, so water transpired by trees, schools or surrounding air and plays an important role in determining the microclimate around them. So animal take water from the water reservoir or with food. Okay, so they return it to the air as vapor by that respiration process. Okay, respiration or to the soil as fluid by excretion. So mammal also excrete water as sweat, so which evaporate from their body. So water vapor form that transpiration. Okay, water vapor form by transpiration and respiration. Okay, form the clouds. Okay, form the clouds and enter the global water cycle. Rains add water to the soil and reservoir for use by plants and animals. So these complete the water cycle. Clear this one? Now about next cycle is that oxygen cycle. Oxygen is one of the constituent of water and form about 21% of the air in the atmosphere. Okay, it is required for respiration by all living organisms. So oxygen enter the living world through that respiration. Okay, it oxidizes the food material and produces energy and that carbon dioxide. Okay, through that respiration that enter. Okay, that oxygen enter the living world through respiration. It oxidizes the food material. Okay, and produces that energy and carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide is again this utilized by the plants to produce the food material during that process of photosynthesis. Okay, so the consequent of free oxygen may now be used again in respiration or it may return to the environment as molecular oxygen. Okay, of that atmosphere. So thus completing the biogeochemical cycle. Clear this one? So in that the concentration of oxygen in the air and water is maintained by the equal rates of its use in respiration and release in the photosynthesis. So oxygen is also released as a part of carbon dioxide by decomposition of dead organic matter. So some oxygen is added to the air as carbon dioxide, water, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide during burning of fuel. Okay, like that. So some oxidize and form by microbial oxidation process. So these oxidize release oxygen when reduced by chemical and biological processes. क्लियर? इसमें आपने क्या सिंपलिसिटी किया, ऑक्सीजन इंटर द लिविंग वर्ल्ड मीन्स ऑक्सीजन मीन्स रेस्पिरेशन प्रोसेस के लिए लिविंग बींग जितने भी लिविंग ऑर्गेन्स वो यूज करते हैं. फिर जो प्रोडक्ट होता है क्या फॉर्म होता है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, वाटर, एनर्जी एंड दिस इज अगेन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज यूज्ड by that plants for the photosynthesis processes. Or you know very well that in the photosynthesis process that glucose material, okay, that C6H12O6 organic molecules means that material is formed and that oxygen gas is released. So oxygen gas release and come back into the again in the atmosphere air. Clear this one? So this is a complete oxygen cycle. Clear this one? Okay. And next is that nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is another important chemical on the earth and is present in all the living organism in the form of protein, amino acid and nucleic acid. It exists in the molecular form, that N2, okay, and in the form of some oxides in the atmosphere. But aerial nitrogen, the most abundant component of air, that is 78%, okay, that is 78% is chemically inert and cannot be used in its pure form by the majority of organism. मीन्स ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो ऑर्गेनिज्म है उसको प्योर फॉर्म में नाइट्रोजन को यूज नहीं कर सकते. ओके, दे कांट. क्लियर? सो फर्स्ट इट नीड्स टू बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू नाइट्रेट फॉर्म. इसलिए पहले नाइट्रोजन को किस में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ता है, नाइट्रेट फॉर्म में, मीन्स NO3 फॉर द यूज ऑफ प्लांट्स. एंड द कन्वर्जन कैन बी डन either by industrial nitrogen fixation, means that manufacturing of ammonium salts and that urea or chemical fertilizer like that, or by some nitrogen fixing bacteria such as azotobacter, okay, that occurs free in soil, and rhizobium occurs in that root nodules of leguminous plants as pea, gram, bean, etc. So which convert the atmospheric nitrogen into water soluble nitrates. Okay, so the process of that biofixation of nitrogen is called the nitrogen fixation. So during the lightning, first there is two types of fixation is there, atmospheric fixation and biological fixation. So first is that atmospheric fixation. Okay, during the lightning, nitrogen of the atmosphere react with the oxygen. You know very well, in that air oxygen is also present. So during the lightning, nitrogen of atmosphere react with oxygens to form the dilute nitric acid. क्या form करती है dilute nitric acid, and this acid comes down to the earth with rainwater, and so nitrates are absorbed by the plants. Okay, these nitrates are absorbed by the plants into their system and utilized for that making organic matters, that is called protein. So when animals consume plant matter, they break down the plant's nitrogenous compound and use them to form new animals protein and other cell components. So after an animal excrete urea or uric acid, after an animal or plant dies, certain bacteria means जैसे ये means plant or animals जो ये die होते हैं, okay, dead plants or animal, okay, so that certain bacteria carry out that ammonification. So that is called the ammonification process. So they produce ammonia, means plants भी जब dead होंगे और animals भी dead होंगे, so with the help of that ammonification process they form the ammonia. Okay, so they produce ammonium ion, that NH4 plus. So from that nitrogen containing molecules, okay, so plants can then assimilate this ammonium ion themselves, or other bacteria can change it to nitrate. फिर ये अमोनिया को किस में चेंज करेंगे वो nitrate NO3, okay, by the nitrification process. So plant take in some of that nitrates produced in this way. The process of ammonium formation is called that ammonification. So some microorganism like Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacter convert ammonia into that nitrates. Okay, so the process is called the nitrification is there. So other bacteria decompose and the Pseudomonas which reduce nitrates back into the nitrogen, okay, or to ammonia or to the other oxide. So this is called the denitrification. So free nitrogen returns to the atmospheric pool, and oxide are taken up by the plant. So this is the simple that cycle is there. Nitrogen cycle is called the perfect cycle in the biosphere because it maintains the overall amount of nitrogen constant in atmosphere, soil and water. Now I explain about that simply. There is in nitrogen in atmosphere there is two types of fixation is there, atmospheric fixation and biological fixation. So first we study about the biological fixation. Okay, so this can be done with the help of that some bacteria is there, okay, in that plants, leguminous plants, okay, that leguminous plants in that root nodules rhizobium bacteria is there. So okay, and that in soil azotobacter bacteria is there. So nitrogen fixation is done, means conversion of atmospheric nitrogen gas into the nitrogen compound with the help of that azotobacter and rhizobium bacteria in root nodules. So they convert that nitrogen compound, and again this means that plants, okay, eaten by that some animals, okay, and when they plants and animals die, okay, that convert that that nitrogen compound into that ammonia. Okay, फिर ये किसमें कन्वर्ट होता है, अमोनिफिकेशन होता है. So there is some bacteria is there, ammonification, conversion of nitrogen containing protein on of dead plants and animals into ammonia. मीन्स जब प्लांट्स भी डाई होंगे तो भी अमोनिया में कन्वर्ट होंगे, एंड दैट एनिमल्स डाई होंगे तो भी अमोनिया में कन्वर्ट होंगे. सो दैट प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड अमोनिफिकेशन. एंड दिस एंड अगेन दिस दैट अमोनिया, ओके, नाउ नाइट्रीफाइंग bacteria is there, means nitrification is there. Okay, so this ammonia, conversion of ammonia into nitrites and then into nitrates. Okay, so convert of ammonia into nitrates means that nitrites, that formula NO2. So with the help of that Nitrosomonas bacteria, okay, so Nitrosomonas bacteria क्या करता है, अमोनिया को नाइट्राइट्स में कन्वर्ट करता है, and again that nitrites convert into nitrates, that Nitrobacter bacteria. With the help of that Nitrobacter bacteria they convert nitrites into nitrates, means NO3. Okay, so again this nitrite, okay, that nitrate means ये nitrates को जो कुछ plants, okay, आपको पता है so mostly जो प्लांट्स है वो प्योर फॉर्म नाइट्रोजन यूज नहीं कर पाते, तो जो प्लांट्स मीन्स ये आप देख रहे हैं स्टेप से एरो यहाँ पे प्लांट्स पे फिर जा रहा है, तो लेग्यूमिनस प्लांट नहीं, जो मीन्स जो प्लांट्स प्योर फॉर्म ऑफ नाइट्रोजन यूज नहीं कर पाते तो वो क्या है नाइट्रेट्स फॉर्म वाली नाइट्रोजन को यूज करते हैं, फिर अगेन से वो वही प्रोसेस होती है, मीन्स वो डाई होंगे फिर अमोनिया फॉर्म होगा लाइक दैट। सो इसमें आप फिर से आप यहाँ पे आ जाइए, तो जैसे नाइट्रेट ओके नाइट्रोजन से नाइट्रोजन कंपाउंड बने, अमोनिफिकेशन हुआ अमोनिया, फिर अमोनिया से नाइट्रिफिकेशन हुआ, दैट नाइट्राइट से नाइट्रेट में कन्वर्ट हुआ, ठीक है अमोनिया, clear this one, and that with the help of that denitrifying bacteria is there, so that conversion of nitrates salt into that free nitrogen gas with the help of that denitrification process is there. So and denitrifying bacteria is called the pseudomonas. So this is again this atmosphere, that free nitrogen gas again come back into the atmosphere. So this is called the biological fixation. Now about the atmospheric fixation. So in that atmospheric fixation during the lighting process, that atmosphere nitrogen that convert with that means nitrification is that directly convert into the nitrate form, and that industrial atmospheric and industrial fixation means that fertilizer that form in that, so that directly convert into that nitrates. So that is what nitrification process. Okay, so in that nitrates convert into nitrates, and again that nitrates means that free nitrogen with the help of the denitrification come back into the atmosphere. Clear? So this is the simple there are two types of fixation in the nitrogen cycle. Okay, next cycle is that carbon cycle. Okay, so the carbon is found in the various forms on the earth. It occurs in the elemental form as diamond and graphite. Combined state, it is found as carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, as carbonate and hydrogen carbonate salt in the various minerals. Okay, while all life forms are based on the carbon containing molecules like protein, carbohydrate, fats, nucleic acids and vitamins. So carbon is incorporated into life forms through the basic processes of that photosynthesis, which is performed in the presence of sunlight by all life forms that contain the chlorophyll. So the glucose, okay, so this process convert that photosynthesis, so that process convert carbon dioxide from the atmosphere or dissolve in water into the glucose molecule, and these glucose molecules are either converted into other substance or used to provide energy for the synthesis of other biological that important molecules. So the utilization of glucose to provide energy to living things involve the process of respiration, in which oxygen may or may not be used to convert glucose back into the carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide then goes back into the atmosphere. Now carbon, like water, is the cycled repeatedly through different forms by the various physical and that biological activities. So now I explained simply that in that atmosphere carbon dioxide, okay, that used by in that carbon dioxide in atmosphere used by the plants, you know very well, with the help of that photosynthesis process, and that plants respire and exhale the carbon dioxide into that atmosphere. Clear? So this is the one, and this plants, okay, eaten by some animals, and that also exhale, and that exhale carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Clear this one? So this is a simple process is there, and again that plants convert into coal form. Okay, that fossil fuels is there, and that plants and that animals die. Okay, and that convert into fossil fuel, that petroleum. So this is what also carbon. Okay, present in that in carbon, and some that organic animals means that जो aquatic plants रहते हैं तो उसको भी animals eat करते हो. फिर ये animals से आपको पता है कि सम जो मराइन जो एनिमल्स है जो इनऑर्गेनिक कार्बन सेल जो उनकी जो शेल फार्म होती है तो वो शेल भी किससे फार्म होती है, दैट कार्बन कंटेनिंग इज देयर, सो कार्बोनेट इन दैट शेल. ओके, एंड दैट सम कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड in that carbonates in water, and that in that limestone. Okay, carbonates in water and they convert in that limestone. So this is the what simple that carbon dioxide, that carbon, this is simple that carbon cycle. Okay, clear? The topic is that greenhouse effect. Okay, so that simple description is there. The atmosphere cover around the earth okay, acts similar to the glass wall of a greenhouse. So the air cover allow a solar radiation to pass through it to the earth surface and but prevent the long wave infrared, okay, जो infrared रहती है that it prevent the infrared okay radiations which is reflected. अभी इसमें क्या होता है, reflected होती है, okay, which is reflected back from the earth. So and that earth surface but prevent the long wave infrared to escape into the space. So gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, nitrogen oxide, okay, nitrogen oxide and chlorofluorocarbon are called the greenhouse gases, and among them carbon dioxide is the most important greenhouse gas. Burning of fossil fuel in homes, industries, automobiles, burning associated with agricultural practices, deforestation, etc. All such practices are increasing level of carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere. Okay, so these greenhouse gases, mainly that carbon dioxide and methane, trap the heat. Okay, क्या करती है, trap the heat means that infrared radiation and reflected by the earth. So this heating up of the atmosphere leads to an increase in the earth surface earth temperature. मीन्स क्या होता है, जैसे मीन्स जो एनर्जी जो ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और जो मैथेन है वो हीट को ट्रैप करती है, मीन्स जो इंफ्रारेड रेडिएशन उसको ट्रैप करती है. सो ओके, इंफ्रारेड रेडिएशन ट्रैप द हीट and that reflected by the earth, and this heating up of atmosphere leads to as increase in earth's temperature. फिर ये ट्रैप करती है एनर्जी को, जो इंफ्रारेड रेड रेडिएशन रहती है उसको ट्रैप करती है, तो अर्थ का जो टेम्परेचर एटमॉस्फेयर वो इंक्रीज हो जाता है. दिस फिनोमिनन इज नोन एज अगेन दैट ग्लोबल वार्मिंग और ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट. क्लियर? सो दीज गैसेज आर radiatively that active, that is they allow the solar radiation to pass through them but reflect back the long wave radiation. This is called the greenhouse effect.